Hello friends, today we are going to talk about personality disorders, how they developed and how we made those judgments which we call as schemas, and how we make maladaptive schemas. Schemas are the characteristic ways we have of thinking, feeling and behaving. Each person has a particular set of schemas that develops in childhood as a result of the way their carers and parents responded to them over a long period of time. Schemas become unhelpful or maladaptive when they leave us feeling negative about ourselves and struggling to deal effectively with other people. All children need to be loved and supported in their development. Our core emotional needs as children include feeling secure, cared for and accepted by others, having a well-developed sense of who we are, and feeling confident to make our own choices, having the freedom to express our emotions and ask for what we need, having the chance to be spontaneous, playful, and having fun, having realistic limits and developing self-control. If any of these needs are not met, and they are not met over a period of time, then slowly and gradually the child keep on making plans, ideas, thoughts to the extent that they become their nature, their personality, and they start behaving in that particular way. If these schemas, as we said, were unhelpful, what we then call is early maladaptive schemas, EMS. A self-defeating pattern of reacting that is made up of memories, emotions, thoughts, and bodily sensations. These develop in childhood and adolescence and impact on our self-perceptions and our ways of understanding our relationship with others. It is important to note that how we behave in situations is not itself part of the schema. Rather, our unhelpful behavior develops in response to our schemas being triggered. Research has been done in this area, and 18 maladaptive schemas have been put forward, identified, and these are grouped into 5 domains. Number 1 domain is disconnection and rejection. Schema attached with that will be abandonment or instability, mistrust or abuse, emotional deprivation, defectiveness, shame, social isolation or alienation. Number 2 domain, impaired autonomy and performance. And the schemas attached to that will be you become dependent or incompetent, vulnerability to harm, you are enmeshed, and perceive yourself as failure. Number 3 domain, impaired limits. This means you develop schemas of entitlement, insufficient self-control, insufficient self-discipline. Others directedness. The schema attached with that is like you become subjugated, self-sacrifice, approval seeking, recognition seeking. And the last domain, over vigilance and inhibition. This will form schemas like negativity, pessimism, emotional inhibition, unrelenting standards, hypercriticalness, punitiveness. If we look at the early or typical experiences related with these domains, now the first domain we understood is disconnection and rejection. So typical experience will be abusive, traumatic childhood, unstable family life, experienced rejection and humiliation, feel different and lacking in some way, long periods of insecurity and inconsistent parenting. That will lead to disconnection and feelings of rejection. The next domain, impaired autonomy and performance, often overprotected and controlled as children, or neglected and ignored, left alone with no interest shown in their lives, continually undermined and made to feel incompetent, or were encouraged to be dependent on others. Third domain, impaired limits. Here have not developed an internal sense of control. Difficulty in respecting the rights of others. Families were very unboundaried. Children did not have rules. Next domain, other directedness. Typical experience attached with that will be experienced conditional love. That is, I will love you only if you do this or if you behave in a certain way. Family overly concerned with appearance. Parents focus on their own needs. Next domain, overvigilance and inhibition. Strict control by parents to gain compliance. Learned to be watching all the time, waiting for bad things to happen. Frightened to express feelings and suffered severe punishments. On the next mode, our earliest relationships with caregivers, whether they are mothers, fathers, grandparents, or other carers, can have an impact on whether we feel secure in life. attachments or attachment relationships or attachment styles in adults. A preoccupied attachment style occurs when the person is troubled by past relationships and is still unhappy about what happened. That is a preoccupied attachment style. That means you are still being troubled by past relationships or what happened to you. The next attachment style in adults will be a dismissive attachment style. Is where people act as if close relationships are not important to them. It's like a denial. You don't think that close relationships are important. Number 3, attachment style. An unresolved attachment style occurs when the person gives mixed messages about loss, trauma, or abuse, and seems disorganized or muddled about how this has affected them. So there is attachment which is unresolved. You are giving the mixed messages about the loss or trauma or about the abuse and seems disorganized or muddled. In the fourth attachment style, insecure attachment style, the person can talk about the past in a way that hangs together and makes sense. They value attachments to other people, and bad experiences are understood and don't dominate the present. So these are the adult attachment styles. But there are also attachment styles which we develop in the childhood. And remember that Bowlby experiment with the monkey mothers and the children, and the attachment they build up. One mother is giving them the food but not the warmth or comfort, and the other mother is not giving the food but giving the giving the warmth and comfort. The baby will go to the mother who gives the milk only for very short period and then come and sit with the mother which gives the comfort. So he developed secure attachments, insecure attachments, and unstable attachments or anxious attachments.